From here, my partner might be trying to pummel. Try pummel, pummel, pummel. We can use our elbow. We can use some degree of scoops. Now he tries to pummel. It's difficult. He tries to bring his head away. It's also difficult. And then we're probably going to be dealing with frame, even if they manage to push us away a little bit. Like let's say Lynn has us at arm's length, but we use a reverse collar tie. We can switch our leading edge, and then from here start looking to actually break through. And even if we lose this and we have to return to a more move to like a greater distance, from here we're still putting pressure on our partner. We're still forcing them to work, and then eventually the idea is once again maintaining a advantageous passing position over time to fatigue our partner, and eventually we're going to look to break through. So just by threatening these overbacks, it's often going to elicit like big reactions where they're going to have to work hard. You can anticipate the turtles. You can even like chain it into whizzers, front headlocks, etc. There are a lot of options, but as long as like I think half the problem is being able to like identify what's going to happen and then anticipate it. And once you kind of know what's going to happen, it makes it a lot easier for you to then continue into your own attacks. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about now in regards to kind of maintaining this position is weight distribution. So understand that kind of the way we're going to distribute our weight, at least so the idea is that we want to really place a lot of weight on our partner's frames. And how do we make him frame? How can we put weight through the frames? Is by creating this threat of chest to chest. Because when I'm here, I'm going to present this threat so that my partner is forced to react. If Lynn doesn't react to the threat of chest to chest, from here, it's basically giving me a pass. So by present, because you don't want to be here and you're like, oh, why is he not framing? Right? Maybe he's doing something else. The issue with a position like this is now he can use his hands to take scoop grips. He can hand fight, right? Hand fight. This is all so annoying for me. So if I present this threat of chest to chest, now if he tries to do these same things, it's going to come at the cost of me being able to close distance, or he's not going to be able to do it, right? So kind of presenting this threat is forcing him to kind of address the risk of chest to chest, and just by like kind of figuring out what's the most urgent thing, because right now hand fighting isn't so urgent. If I threaten chest to chest now, if he lets go of these, the problem is going to be very urgent. So being conscious of that and not just having your weight be back here, which can be useful sometimes, but almost always my goal is to just have my weight coming down on my partner from these positions, right? And so now I'm going to change my distribution of my weight to try to beat my partner's frames, which I'll talk about in a minute. But a lot of my focus is going to be there, because otherwise his hands are free to do so many other things that can be very problematic. So like examples include like if he takes scoops on my leg, like reverse delahivas, etc. If I'm here and he's about to like threaten a reverse delahiva on me, like from here I don't want him to be able to invert. However, if I present this threat of chest to chest immediately, now from here when he wants to make that grip, it's going to be very difficult initially, and the risk he's going to incur is very significant. All right, so that's essentially it for the maintenance phase in regards to outside passing / camping. Now it's going to be my recommendation in regards to how to practice this, and we're just talking about specific rounds where basically my recommendation, if your issue is maintenance, you're like, man, I can get there all the time, but I can never hold it for enough time to actually pass my partner. My recommendation would be adopt any posture you want. You can take into consideration whatever posture you're working on, and look to hold this position against resistance, where the only way I can win is if I can hold him here indefinitely. So let's say you set like, I don't know, like a 3 to 5 minute timer. You can find your training partner is like, okay, I want to hold you in this position and I want you to recover guard. You can stand up, you can turtle, re-guard, etc. Obviously, if you want to like kind of like work for specific reactions, you're like, Lynn, I feel like every time I work from this position, people turtle. So I want you to only try turtle on me, and I'm going to try work this specific situation. And try to do this for individual situations where it's like, you think they lasso a lot, or they think they free the near leg, whatever. So like, especially at the start when you're fairly new at this, try to focus on one thing first and communicate that to your partner so they can focus on that one thing as well. Because let's say I'm working on just controlling the near side leg, but he keeps pulling the far side leg. It's, especially at first, it's going to be hard to kind of work into that, where you can kind of start at one point and then, okay, Lynn, I want you to just pummel this near side leg out and do your best. Don't pummel anything else, just pummel your near side leg out. And then we play from here. And then we can kind of next adapt, okay, far side leg in, and then build on that. And then basically, if you're able to hold it indefinitely, there's only one way for him to kind of like elicit a reset is when he escapes. And so whatever escape that might be, that'll elicit a reset. For me, there's no reset. It's just me holding this. So as long as I can hold this for whatever the set period of time is, this is a good thing for me. So I'm just trying to do that. And then once you kind of really develop the skill and you develop a comfort and a confidence in holding this position, it's going to be like a much greater incentive for you to really think about ways to get there. You're like, wow, I feel very confident here. Now let me think of all the different ways I can get there. And then now you can be creative and try to incorporate more of these different ideas. And you can think of very unconventional ways to get there that I probably didn't cover, because I covered like at least the most like basic and just kind of the basic ideas and a broad introduction. But you can combine this with ideas of like let's say you're attacking a turtle. Like if you turtle, you're attacking it. Let's move a little bit away from the camera. Or if you feel like, oh, your partner starts looking to grab B-roll out, like grab B-roll, right? And then from here, how can I start looking to either chain this into continuous turtle attacks? But let's say Lynn looks to regard from the turtle, like regard, right? How can I chain this into the same camping position, etc.? And from what positions might you frequent, what moves might you already be good at, and how that can